Right. Welcome to my video presentation. Today I will be presenting net zero and climate geopolitics, the alternative fuels and green tech. As we all know that shipping industry nowadays have shift towards decarbonization due to climate regulations and sustainability. The alternative fuels such as LNG, biofuels, hydrogen ammonia, methanol can reduce greenhouse gas emissions and environmental impacts. In legal context under the Rotterdam Rules, they do not explicitly define or regulate alternative fuels. The adoption of alternative fuels affects the carriers and shippers' legal duties and capabilities. The key areas that impacted are the ship's seaworthiness, carriers' liability for cargo loss, damage, delay, and dangerous goods handling. So the implications of fuel use is the vessels must maintain seaworthiness and manage risks linked to alternative fuels. The technical or safety issues can lead to carrier liability, and certain fuels such as hydrogen or ammonia are classified as dangerous goods, which will trigger strict safety and disclosure obligations. Let's go to issue one. The carrier adopts biofuels but faces performance issues. There are no specific articles on biofuels or sustainability concerns in the rules. However, it focuses on carriers' general performance obligations, such as receipts, carriage, care, handling, storage, delivery of goods in Chapter 4 of Rotterdam Rules. The carriers must exercise due diligence and properly perform the contract. The carrier liability for loss, damage, or delay in Article 17, Chapter 5. The carrier is liable if there is a loss, damage, or delay occurs during carrier's responsibility period. The liability will be triggered if the claimant proves causation linked to carrier's period of responsibility. The liability for acts of others in Article 18, the carrier is liable for breaches caused by performing parties, master of crew, carrier's employees or subcontractors, others acting under carrier's control or supervision, and the carrier will remain liable if a subcontractor's biofuel-related performance issue causes delay or damage. To summarize, the liability framework, the performance and liability provisions apply regardless of fuel type used. It doesn't matter if it's ammonia, hydrogens, or LNG. There is no biofuel specific clause liability. The liability depends on breach of contract, performance obligations. The operational issues from biofuels uh, can be slower speeds or delays while using the alternative fuels addressed under existing rules framework. So there are four examples from the first issue. Fame-based biofuel blends trial by carriers like CMA, CGM, and Maersk. The issues are fuel stability, microbial growth, filter clogging, engine compatibility concerns. This can cause by improper storage, such as sludge, fuel degradation, impacts of from engine performance and maintenance needs. Number two, uh, the early LNG fuel challenges, such as LNG fuel face maintain slip, complex supply systems, and limited bunkering infrastructure. LNG fuel also cause operational uncertainty and technical adaptation cost higher than conventional fuels. Delays linked to engine modifications and fuel logistics during early LNG adoption. For engine manufacturers and technical advisories, MAN Energy Solution highlights that alternative alternative fuels to be monitored. The monitoring need to be monitored for the viscosity, oxidation, stability, and material compatibility. Poor fuel management can risk in propulsion issues, slow steaming, engine failure, and increased wear in the vessel. This emphasizes importance of strict fuel quality control. Lastly, for number four, legal implications under Rotterdam rules. A carrier is liable under Article 17 for delays or damage from fuel-related technical failures. Due diligence obligations to maintain seaworthiness and proper carriage per Articles 13 and 14. The fuel transition poses technical risks, especially early in adoption, despite growing feasibility. Moving on to issue two, parties insert clauses mandating green fuel use. Rotterdam rules do not explicitly regulate fuel choice. In Article 79 governs validity of contractual terms, preventing clauses that reduce carriers' obligations below mandatory minimums. Green fuels clauses are valid if they do not diminish the carrier's fundamental responsibilities. Volume contact contracts and green fuel obligations in Article 80 allows more contractual freedom in long-term or high-volume contracts. Green fuels mandates in volume contracts are enforceable if Article 80's formal and substantive safeguards are met. This can also enable negotiation sustainability clauses within commercial agreements. The next is the carrier's operational duties and liability. Carriers must still comply with Articles 11, 13, and 14 in Rotterdam rules. In Article 11 explains that the carry and deliver goods per contract. Article 13, proper receipt, handling, carriage, and delivery. Article 14, due diligence to maintain seaworthiness. The liability under Article 11, if the carrier is held liability under Article 11 if green fuel uses compromises performance or seaworthiness despite having a contractual clauses. The, there are three examples such as Maersk, Eco Delivery, the cargo transported using biofuel or green methanol with verified GHG reductions, uh, contractual agreement reflected in freight invoices with payment charges, and partnerships with Amazon or H&M or other companies for lower emission shipping under binding contracts. The second example is the Hapag-Lloyd and CMA CGM Green Fuel Services. For Hapag-Lloyd's ship green biofuel transport to customers surcharge and certified sustainable fuel use. Meanwhile, CMA and CGM sustainable maritime fuels, customers can choose biofuel or alternative fuels with documented and auditable commitments. Third party also they also include third party certification supports for the transparency and accountability. The third one would be the broader industry trends, such as the shuttle party clauses. Sustainability clauses increasingly included in shuttle parties. Sea Cargo Charter promotes alignment with IMO, International Maritime Organization's decarbonization targets, and non-binding but influential in drafting clauses requiring emission standards or specific fuel use. Moving on to issue 3, hydrogen fuel cargo is classified as dangerous. As we all know that hydrogen is highly flammable and potentially explosive, which is why they are clearly classified as dangerous. Under Article 31, special rules on dangerous goods. In Article 32, shipper must timely inform carrier of dangerous nature and ensure proper marking or labeling uh, for uh, for transporting hydrogen gas. In Article 17, carrier may avoid liability if loss or damage is not due to its fault or false under exceptions, which is known as inherent defect. Carrier is liable if due diligence is not exercised due to improper storage of hydrogen. This balances risk allocation between shipper and carrier. In Carrier's Protective Powers, Article 15, carriers or performing party may refuse to unload destroy or render goods harmless goods if they are pose a danger. If they pose dangers, protective actions allowed without breaching delivery obligations. These ensure safety during the carrier's responsibility period. Shipper's obligations, Article 27, however, says that shipper must deliver goods fit for carriage and safe for persons or property. For hydrogen, it requires proper containment and compliance with safety standards. Uh, this complements liability and protective rules to manage dangerous cargo risks. There are four examples. Number one, hydrogen classification under IMDG code. Compressed hydrogen and liquid hydrogen are classified as class 2 flammable gases. It requires mandatory compliance with packaging, labeling, segregation, and storage rules. These enforced under SOLAS and MOPO for international maritime shipping. Second one is the Suiso Frontier, uh, built by the Kawasaki company. It is a commercial example. Uh, the purpose of the vessel built is for liquefied hydrogen transport from Australia to Japan. Hydrogen needs to require storage at negative 253 degrees Celsius with advanced containment and safety systems. This uh, this received a special regulatory approval and IMO safety and compliance highlighting the hydrogen's high risk status. For number three, Marine Classification Society's guidelines. DNV and others provide safety guidelines for hydrogen-fueled ship and transport. This is to prevent explosion, include ventilation, um, double containment, and provide crew training in transporting hydrogen gases. This emphasizes safety standards for hydrogen handling in maritime operations. For number four, Rotterdam Rules and Hydrogen Cargo in Article 32, shipper must inform carrier about dangerous nature of hydrogen cargo. In Article 15, carrier authorized to refuse to unload or in Article 15, carrier authorized to refuse, unload, or neutralize dangerous goods posing a risk. In real-world classification ties directly into carriers' protective and liability obligations under the rules. Moving on to the fourth issue, which is the net zero practices increases cost of carriage. There are no direct environmental provisions regulating sustainability cost. However, uh, in Article 1, Chapter 28, freight defined as carriers' remuneration for carriage. This increased costs from net zero measures, such as alternative fuels and emissions compliance, reflected in freight per contractual terms. Like the liability and regulatory compliance in Article 17, Chapter 3b, carrier relief from liability for loss, delay, um, or loss or delay caused by government interference or regulations if not at fault. This does not automatically allow freight increases, but it affects the liability related to regulatory delays. This balances cost impact and operational responsibility under regulatory frameworks. So there are three examples from EU emissions trading system. From 2024, shipping in uh, EU ETS, or short for European Union Emissions Trading System, requires carbon allowance purchases for CO2 emissions. The operating costs also increase for ships calling at European ports. Major carriers such as Maersk, CMA, CGM, and Hapag-Lloyd introduced the um, European Union Emissions Trading Systems surcharges on freight invoices based on cargo volume and carbon prices. In for Example number two, I, International Maritime Organization 2020 sulfur cap and fuel surcharges mandated switch from high sulfur to low sulfur fuel oil, or short for LSFO. LSFO significantly more expensive, causing carriers to apply low sulfur fuel surcharges (LSF) or adjust bunker adjustment factor, or short for BAF. However, higher fuel costs contractually passed to shippers globally. For number three, green methanol powered vessels and premiums. Maersk net zero strategy includes methanol fuel container ships. Green methanol has higher cost than conventional marine fuel. So the eco delivery product charges customers a premium reflecting sustainable fuel's additional cost. So to conclude all of my presentation slides, the Rotterdam rules and net zero transitions. Existing framework addresses operational, contractual, and financial challenges from net zero transition, but there are no specific regulations of alternative fuels. But it highlights the carrier's obligations, seaworthiness, and liability provisions, and they are still need apply to be applied to fuel-related delays or damage. Green fuel clauses allowed under contractual freedom under Article 79 and 80, but cannot reduce mandatory carrier responsibilities. Lastly, dangerous goods, cost, and legal flexibility. Hydrogen classified as dangerous goods. Shipper disclosure duties and carrier protective rights are maintained. The increase in decarbonization costs managed through freight definition and contractual risk allocation. The Rotterdam rules then offer a flexible, sufficient legal framework for regulating net zero shipping impacts without environmental specific amendments. Thank you for watching and listening to my slide presentation. That will be all. Thank you.